Okay guys, here's the first picture problem. The manager of the store specializing in selling tea decides to experiment with a new blend. She mixes Earl Grey tea, $5 a pound, orange pekoe tea, $3 a pound, 600 pounds. She want to get a final mixture that she's going to sell for $350. Just like getting some certain things like peanuts and cashews, mixing them together, same idea. You will always have two things. So what you want to do is, let's come over here. Let's do something. I was going to try to do a text box, but it wants to be difficult. Don't know why. Let's pause the video, see what's going on. Notice what I did. I said let X be pounds of Earl Grey tea, and then 600 minus X be pounds of pekoe tea, because we know we have to have 600 total. So if I have X pounds for Earl Grey, 600 minus X have to be left. For instance, if you had 200 pounds of Earl Grey, that means you got to have 400 of pekoe tea left. Now, I chose X to be Earl Grey because it's the one that's more expensive. Now you're ready to set up your equation. I'm going to do this again this way. Give me a text box so you can read it a little better. We know it's 5X, because that's $5 times X pounds plus $3 times 600 minus X pounds equals, how much is the mixture going to be? $3.50 for how many pounds? 600 pounds, because you know you're going to have 600 pounds when you finish. Now when you distribute that, dance plus 1800 minus 3x, right, equals, what's 3.5 times 600? That's 2100. Okay, now ask yourself, what kind of equation is this? It's linear, so what do? Letters left, numbers right. That 5x stays, that 3x cross the bridge, that 2100 stays, that 1800 becomes minus 1800, that becomes 2x equals what? 21 minus 18 is 300, right? Now, all that's nice and pretty. So now you know you have to do what? Divide both sides by what? 2. Divide by 2. And then you get to go what? Bam, bam, right? So x equals what? 300. So that tells you you have x equals 300. So 300 what? I'm sorry, I can't divide. X equals what? 150 pounds, right? Of who? Of Earl Grey, right? That means we have 600 minus X. 600 minus 150 gives us 450 pounds of orange pekoe tea. And that's how you get the two answers. Word problem 1, mixture. Okay guys, let's go over this review real quick, just a little bit, and make sure. We did it last night, but I want to take my time and talk about it a little bit. Identify the following types of numbers: natural, whole numbers, integer, rational, irrational, real, imaginary, complex. Right? Remember the rules that we've talked about. What makes it a natural number? What makes it a whole number? Integer, rational, irrational, real, imaginary, and complex. Right? Okay. Solving linear equations. You know how to do that. Solve factoring quadratic equations. The beast, that's the what? Quadratic formula. You should know minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Kill that. Complete the square. That's not on the test, so we get rid of that. Next one's going to be do not solve. You got to remember, identify the type roots. Find your b squared minus your 4ac. Go from there. Number 4, 2 plus 4i. What's the real part? 2. What's the imaginary part? 4. How do you know it's imaginary? It has an I. Your answer, make sure you understand that the real part, real is just what? 2. The imaginary part is 4. Do not put the I. The I tells me that, hey, I'm imaginary. I'm going to take this problem right here. Let's see if we can copy it for a second to our writing board, because I want to make sure everybody knows what we mean by first, last. Yeah, they kind of took it, but that's okay. I'm going to go back and take it. Let's back up. Control Z. I'm going to write it as an old school fraction, right? So you got to go back and grab it like this. 3 plus 4i 2 over minus 2i. Cannot have an I on the bottom, so what are you going to multiply? By the conjugate. Anytime you have a conjugate, you do what? On the bottom, you simply say first times first, which is 4, plus, this isn't a conjugate, so let me go back and fix that little piece right there. That should be what? 2i over what? 2i, right? Because you know the conjugate almost look like each other. Conjugate is C-O-J-U-G-A-T-E. 2 times 2 is first, last, automatic. Now you got to dance this guy since he's not a conjugate. 6 plus 6i plus 8i plus 8i squared. You know, anytime you see an I squared, that becomes a minus 1, right? So that becomes 6 minus 1 plus 6i plus 8i over what? 8. So that becomes 5 plus 14i over 8. Check my math. 6 plus 6i. 6 plus 6i plus 8i, right? Where's that mistake at? That should be 6 minus 1. No, that's wrong. Okay, we're going to back that up and write it again. That should be 6 plus 6i plus 8i plus 8i squared, which would be 6 plus 6i plus 8i minus 8 over 8. Because that minus sign right there made him what? Negative. So that becomes minus 2 over 14i over 8. You know, I always like to split it into real parts and imaginary part, right? This is 8. Let's divide by what? 2, 1/4 plus what? 7 over 4i. That makes more sense. So you got to watch those, right? Now, let's keep on going here. View, File. Let's go to New. The next question here was solving radical equations. Some people are having trouble with radical equations. What you want to make sure you do is what? 12 minus x equals x. Is that part by itself? Yes, it is. How do you get rid of a square root? You simply do what? You square both sides, right? Now you ask yourself, what does that become? 12 minus x equals x squared. What kind of equation am I? Quadratic. Bring me across the bridge, right? That becomes an x squared plus x because it's a red light. Ask yourself, do you love me? Zoom, 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 x minus, nope, minus because I see 1. Negative times a negative is a what? Positive. Get that 12 tree. 1, 12, 2, 6, 3, 4, minus, 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 plus, plus, plus. This guy right here gives me 1. He gives me 4. He gives me 11. So he's going to be a 3 and a 4. Set everything equal to 0. X equals what? 3. X equals minus 4. Cool. Now, let's keep going for a second. Drag this over. We've talked about that one. Here's the other one that makes me nervous. Right here. Don't worry about that guy, because the only thing you're going to simply do is what? Let's copy it. Okay. I'm going to do a new page again. Whoop, whoop. Right? You know you're going to have a what? X minus 4 squared plus 4 equals 29, right? So you have x minus 4 squared equals 29 minus 4. Take the square root, take the square, x minus 4 squared. Clean that left side, right side up first, 25. Now take the square root, take the square root. X minus 4 equals what? Plus or minus 5. X equals 4 plus or minus 5. Two answers. X equals 4 plus 5. X equals what? 4 minus 5. So x equals what? 9. X equals what? Minus 1. Right? So let's see if one of these might not work. You gotta check it. What's 9 minus 4? 9 minus 4 turns out to be 25. 25 plus 4 turns out to be 29. Good job. What is 4 minus 5? Minus 1. Minus 1 minus 4 is negative 5 squared is 25. 25 plus 4 is 29. Both are good. It's all good. Hardest question. The one that gives people more problems. Let's go back and remember that quartic problem. You know it's quartic because the power is what? 2. Sorry, is 4. So what happens if you had a quartic problem that looked like this? Three sevenths x to the fourth minus 1/7 x to the squared minus 2 over 7 equals 0, right? Right off the bat, you don't like fractions. He gets him 7, he gets him 7, he gets him 7, he gets him 7. 3x to the fourth minus what? X squared. Bam, bam. 7's cancels, right? That's a pitiful looking parentheses, right? And what's 7 times 0? 0. Do you love me? Nope. Oh, before you do that, in place of x squared, you're going to put a u. So that makes this u squared minus 2. We just forced a quartic to become a what? Quadratic. So that tells me that u is equal to what? X squared. Solve this. I get a 6 because you don't love me. A 2 and a 3 minus minus plus equals 5 and 1. What are you trying to get? You're trying to get a negative 1. So guess what we're going to do here? This becomes 3u squared minus 3u plus 2u minus 2 because we need that negative 1, right? Now you ask yourself, your mama says what? 2 bites at a time. So you're going to pull out a 3u minus 3, right? Sorry. 3u, you're going to have u minus 1. We're going to pull out a 2, you're going to have a u minus 1. Bam, kill the twins. Equals 0. Sorry. Undo that. Feel guilty. Put one of the twins back. Right? Cool. Now, I'm going to create a new page so I can keep going. 3u plus 2, u minus 1. 3u plus 2, u minus 1. 3u plus 2, u minus 1, right? Take each piece, set it equal to 0. So now you got 3u equals negative 2 divided by 3 divided by 3. U equals 1. U equals minus 2/3. But you got to recall that u was x squared. How do you get rid of a squared? You square root it. You have the square root of a negative sign, so that becomes plus or minus I. Everybody gets their own house. And we talked about how do you rationalize a denominator. You simply do what? Bring it up, right? Take it out. So that guy turns out to be x. You know me, I don't like those double equal signs. That says x is equal to plus or minus. They're both the same type of house, so they jump under there together. Divide by 3. Done. 6 and 3 does not cancel because the 6 is in the house. This is x squared equals what? 1. Right? Take the square root. That turns out to be plus or minus 1. Notice how many solutions? 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a what? Quadratic equation. Whoop whoop. All right. Cooking with grease. Let's keep going. Okay. Back this guy up over here. Let's check out this absolute value thing. Okay. Absolute value has that one. I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna copy it, slide it so I can copy it. Let's get rid of this. I don't know why this keeps flying in here, getting on my nerves. Minus absolute value of 2x plus 4 over 10 is less than minus 3. Absolute value wants to be by itself. I gotta change his sign. I gotta change his sign. Now what I'm gonna do, that's a pitiful looking 3. You gotta split it twice. First time you're gonna do what? Copy it just like it is. Second time, you copy the stuff on the outside because it's not, stuff on the inside is protected. The stuff on the outside is not protected. Let's fix this 3. Somebody's gonna be fussing. Alright. Fix this 3 here. Let's make it prettier. Greater than what? 3. Notice this became less than negative 3 because you got to change it. Once again, what do you have? Fraction. Bam, bam. 2x plus 4 is greater than 30. Move that 4 across the bridge, right? And that becomes what? 30 minus 4. 2x is greater than 26. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X is greater than what? 13. Give him some 10. Give him some 10. 2x plus 4 is less than minus 30. 2x is less than minus 30 minus 4. 2x, this is a 2, pitiful looking. 2x is less than minus 34. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Bam, bam. X is less than what? Minus 17. Now you come up here and draw your number line. What's my first number? Minus 17. What's my second number? Positive 13. Which way is he shading? To the right, because he's pointing to the right. Which way is he shading? To the left, because he's pointing to the left. Open circles, right? Cool. Notice, that means this is a what? Disjunction. Not, oops, pitiful. Okay. Right? That is a disjunction, right? Disjunction. Right? Cool. And what does that tell you also about being a disjunction? It's not connected, so that tells me in interval form, it's just gonna get nasty, bear with me. It goes from where? Negative infinity to what? Negative 17, or 15 to what? Infinity. That's your inequality mode. I'm sorry, that's your interval mode. That is your disjunction. Let's see if we can just, let's clean this up. Let's do a whole new page. File, new. My answer was less than negative 17 and 13. It was what? Negative 17, 13. Right? Open circles, open circle, disjunction, not connected. Right? You knew x was less than minus 17, or x was greater than what? 13. Notice the ways it's pointing. Interval notation, graphic notation. I'm sorry, this is inequality notation. This is interval notation. Union, 13, infinity. Set notation, squiggly, squiggly, bar, x, copy something. I'm gonna copy this guy. X is an element of, right? Minus infinity, comma, minus 17, u. Let's erase this guy. We need some help, right? (13) infinity, right? Graphic, inequality, interval, set, done. Pause here for a second. Okay, let's look at this inequality that has an x in the middle. Cool. So it says what? It says 29 is less than 3x. Pitiful. 3x plus 8 less than 56. Okay, 29 is less than 3x plus 8 less than 56. So now remember, you gotta look at this as two problems. You want to first time cover this up, okay, and we're gonna let that 8 go this way. Got it? And then you're gonna let the let's do it this way. I gotta let that 8 go this way, and also let that 8 go that way. So you're really doing two problems. 29, moving the 8, subtracting the 8 from him. 3x, moving the 8 over here. Okay. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is look at it like this. Give him some negative 8. Give him some negative 8. Give him some negative 8. Now you have 21 is less than 3x because he was a plus 8 and we gave him some negative 8, right? Cool. So 29 minus 8 is 21. 3x plus 8 minus 8, kill those two, and this becomes 48, right? You want this x by itself in the middle, divide by 3, divide by 3, that becomes 7, this becomes x, that becomes what? 16, right? Cool. And the whole idea now is, now you know that's a conjunction, right? I have a 7, I have a 16, right? You know this is a what? Exclusive, because the circles are open. And it's a what? Conjunction, but me just drew it wrong. So it should be what? 7, 16, open circle, shade in the middle, right? Interval notation, parentheses, right? 7 comma 16, right? Interval notation, graphic notation, inequality notation. And you know what set notation looks like. Well, that's pretty much the review. You got enough to go study. So look at this, take your time, make sure you own it. Bye.